I get hired to do only moisture intrusion investigations from time to time.
Oh, okay.
So that, but even that, you have to do a pretty comprehensive look at the home to find, sources of potential intrusion. So there ends
Sure.
up at least half of a home inspection to do, and then you have to pull out the meters and infrared sensors. Things like that. So, Kelly, welcome. We're about to start, so you came at a good time.
I don't know if my connection's bad, but it's kind of cutting in and out. Is anybody else?
Yeah, I'm hearing that too.
Okay. And I'm not hearing it with you. How do you pronounce your name? Is it Elisa?
Alicia, yep.
Alicia. Okay, sorry. You sound fine, but like when Tom was talking, it was when it was cutting in and out.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Tom, you don't have any Bluetooth going on there, do you?
I just realized I was hotspotting off my phone,
Oh, I think this might be
which I
better.
do all day long. So now I just connected to my home. Is that better?
I think it sounds better.
Okay.
Okay. So I think yeah, this should work better. Kelly, can you hear us okay? Send us a sign.
I can hear you just fine.
Okay. All right, we're going to get started. So I'm going to share a PowerPoint presentation that normally would probably take an hour. I'm going to try to do it in 20 minutes.
All right.
Now, I just realized I don't have it at the start. So let me change that real quick. There it is. Okay. Share the right screen. So can you all see the screen that says solving the mystery of moisture intrusion?
Yep, I can.
Yes.
All right, good deal. All right, so here's a little about my background. I'm an Air Force vet. I have both a bachelor's and master's in mechanical engineering and worked 12 years in that field. And then before I became a home inspector, I spent 20 years restoring damaged properties as a contractor, owned a company and was a VP at another. I started branch property investigations in 2015, got a bunch of certifications. I do assist as an expert in cases related to microbial damage and water and fire damage. And I also enjoy helping people and serving in ministries, both at my church and in some nonprofit organizations. That's a little about me. And so this is session 1 of at least 2, but we'll go with 2. We're going to focus today on the tools used to detect moisture intrusion, an overview of what it is, and then how you detect it on the exterior and roof. And then there's a lot of other things, of course, where moisture can come in that we'll discuss. And if you have any questions, just pop up with, I'll see you on mute, and then I'll know you got something that triggered your curiosity. So this is looking at a house building envelope. I'm going to move you, minimize actually. And so we're looking at places moisture enters the house from the exterior envelope. It can enter from underground through the slab and the slab corners. You can enter through the side wall foundation right here. You can enter through penetrations in the side or a little higher above the footing. And then underneath the shingles, through the roof, around the chimney flashing is a prominent one, through the ridge cap. And any place there's a roof or side penetration in your foundation or the roof or the wall, you can get water in. And so that's what we're trying to identify and help solve. So there are 4 basic causes: rain and groundwater, outside air that infiltrates based on vapor pressure differentials from the outside to the inside, where it kind of forces moisture through your house. Moisture that's created within a building, both in vapor and liquid form. and then how that vapor diffuses through the building envelope from the inside out. So this is an example of some rain or groundwater infiltration. It's particularly difficult to find these when it's not raining. So we have to look for evidence that it's been there. So we're looking for staining for sure. Any signs of recent painting that doesn't look quite right, you know, if there's color mismatches, if there's, you know, signs that the basement has been painted over, but there's roughening of the wall related to something called efflorescence, that we can say perhaps there's been an ongoing moisture intrusion problem that's trying to be disguised here. And then certainly if you see water staining like we see in this picture, we'll always flag that. We have tools that we're going to go into shortly to give you more information about it. So condensation is a key part in our climate, especially with vapor in the winter, because a lot of people, they don't like the uncomfortably dry air we get in winter. So they add humidifiers to, not dehumidifiers, but humidifiers. A lot of times they're attached to your furnace and they add moisture to the airstream, and sometimes they over humidify the house. And that causes in very cold days, a lot of this condensation you see on windows and doors, and even in places in the building envelope that you can't see, like your attic. So that's another key source of moisture infiltration that is a subtle one. You only see it certain times a year. So like if people ask me to find condensation in July, I'm not able to do that. But I look for clues that it has occurred. And then in bathrooms, you know, this is a quick overview, but I see a lot of bathrooms with windows in the shower. I'm not a fan because a lot of moisture problems come from water getting through the window. Even when you think it isn't, water wins often. And you also see rings around the ceiling fan. Look for that when you're doing a walkthrough. You can see staining in the ceiling fan area. It often happens because either the bathroom ceiling fan duct isn't insulated, and so the moisture condenses rapidly because it's so cold, and then drains back down into the bathroom. Or they don't run the fan long enough. A lot of people run the fan for a couple of minutes. And they think all the moisture is gone from the bathroom, and it may look that way, but it's still in the exhaust duct up in your attic. And as soon as you shut that fan off, that moisture comes back down and often in a condensed form, and then forms that ring you see around bathroom fans. So look for that when you're inspecting a home. It's pretty easy to solve, but it does happen. And then this is a more major water intrusion you can see through a roof area. And along the perimeter in particular, we're looking at our climate, especially because of ice dams. We're looking for signs that it's been, you know, redone there with drywall texture or new paint, or that, you know, any signs that the conditions are favorable that ice dams might occur. We look for that in terms of ventilation, the amount of overhang you have in the roof, the types of insulation, things like that. Okay, the next slide. We're talking about attic condensation. This is an example of what you can see. In a really bad attic, the whole thing is black. And I've seen attics in the winter that it's just white with frost, the entire attic. Because of how much moisture vapor is getting into the attic that then condenses. In the spring, when it gets warm enough, that melts and it all becomes water inside your attic that is staining the drywall or the roof members. So, and then a lot of it can be hidden. You know, people who finish off, you know, older homes on the 3rd floor often don't insulate or put vapor barriers in properly. So you take the sheetrock off on the inside and you look through at the roof system, and you can see discoloration from water staining. But there is a right way and a wrong way to do these things. I redid my basement a few years back, and if you set the sill plate back, the studs back about 1.5 inches from the wall and spray foam the entire area behind the studs, you end up with a very dry basement as I have now, and no moisture intrusion problems since we've done that. So here's some of the instruments we use. Infrared camera is a key part. It's a guide. It doesn't show moisture, it shows heat. And thermal differences are often related to the presence of moisture, but not always. So I've been certified as a building science thermographer for more than 15 years. And you gotta make sure you're not getting false positives. That you think it's moisture, but it's actually just cooler in a certain section of the wall or ceiling. So it does take some training to use the infrared camera properly. And we never trust it solo by itself. We always augment an infrared camera with moisture meters to give you a true moisture measurement of the area of interest. So here's what infrared images look like. You can see at the base of a wall, it's darker. In this wall, there's actually been holes drilled because it got wet, and this is a way of drying it out. And this floor here, the floor section has gotten wet in one area relative to the other. So we have the ability to inspect with an infrared camera, and any of our inspections have asked. And then we supplement that with the moisture meter. If we're doing a true moisture intrusion investigation, we'll pull out these tools. We can't do it during the midst of every home inspection because it takes about an hour to really characterize a property effectively with the meters once you've done the other parts. So we do have an add-on that people can choose if they want to. So this meter, what we use, the X-Tech meter, that has the ability to measure moisture either with a pin probe or with what's called a non-destruct moisture meter setting, where you actually don't poke any holes in the wall. It's just sensing it through the wall itself. Or this actually can function to determine relative humidity and temperature as well. So it's a pretty versatile device. So this is where we're looking for problems in a home, often find them. Grading window wells, sump pump discharge, foundations, and the like. So give an example in the grading. Many homes have the wrong type of grading. I'd say that the great majority are neutral. On the far right, you see this. That's a thumbs down, but it's not a thumbs down like a negative is. A negative, you see in the negative, the water is flowing toward the house and sitting up against the wall, where it's going to then slowly leach through the foundation into the interior areas. Neutral, that may happen or may not happen. Most houses I see are neutral. And then the best houses have a positive slope leading away from the house, so the water is being directed away from the foundation. Minimum 6 feet, ideally 10 feet or more, is being drained away from your foundation system. So window wells are another key area where moisture can enter. In the winter, it can fill with snow and it can leak in and come through the glass or through the window surround. In the summer, it can fill up if it doesn't drain properly. A lot of window wells don't have the proper gravel in them. And you can see here in the middle picture, the gravel is situated such that the water is going to flow down the middle. And if there's weeping tile installed, through a weeping tile system at the base of the window well. It's not required to have that weeping tile, but it is an add-on that can be helpful in those situations where the regular drainage doesn't work. So this kind of cap over here is a thumb, and this one over here is what we're looking for. So some pump discharges can be another problem. Here's one, a brand new house with the sump pump completely capped. So if it kicked on, nothing was going to happen. And then often I see this where they're draining too close to the house and you end up recirculating the sump pump kick out or drainage back into the sump pump intake system. if they drain underground like this one here, we don't know where it's going. We don't know if the pipe is intact. So it's often done for cosmetic reasons. You're trying to get it out of tripping hazards and sidewalks, things like that. And I understand it, but from a drainage system, we can't see what's happening. So as an inspector, we're limited. These sump pump drains that have a air gap at the top are good in that they allow you, if there is a backup, the water can flow out here rather than backing up into the system. So in the foundation, we're looking for, displacement caused by, as a foundation, the surround of it gets really wet. The pressure on the foundation increases remarkably. The weight of the water is much greater than just the dirt by itself. So it can cause foundation failures because you're trying to hold back more weight than was expected. And so we're looking for signs of cracking that can be a sign of moisture intrusion problems or a result of them. And then we're looking for the same around doors and windows, both on the outside and then on the inside. A lot of times windows aren't installed properly with the right kind of flashing systems. So what you think is a leak-proof window is actually draining down into the wall assembly. As you see below this house wrap, you can see the staining below it. That comes from an improperly installed window. So we're looking at, this is kind of what we look at in our climate. We have an exterior wall covering with a wall sheathing behind it, typically wall insulation, a vapor or moisture barrier on the inside, and then sheetrock over. And some moisture can get into the wall assembly and hopefully will dry out, but we're trying to prevent moisture vapor from getting into it from the inside out. And so this is what can result from an improperly protected outside. Now on roofs, this is, we talked about ice dams, staining from condensation, staining coming through. This could well be condensation that's leaking back through, or an actual roof leak where water is coming through from the roof as well. A little subtle thing is you don't want water ever to sit against the foundation. If you have a patio or a sidewalk that's up against the foundation and it starts shifting away, then there's a gap there where water can get in and sit there, and it's really slow to evaporate. So we always recommend our clients fill those. So in our company, we offer a couple of different options, a standard moisture intrusion investigation, which is done for a specific area that clients are having trouble with. We'll go on the outside, the inside, if necessary, in the attic, on the roof, wherever we have to go to solve the problem and tell them, here's what needs to be fixed, and here's what's currently wet. I did one of these on, not this exact inspection, but this was included as part of a home inspection on Saturday. And as soon as I got on the roof, I said, this chimney is flashed really badly. And as sure enough, when I got out the moisture meter and infrared camera on the inside of the house, the walls were wet right around the chimney base. Now we had ammunition to go after the seller and say, look, your chimney is currently leaking. It's water in the wall today, not sometime in the past. So it needs to be fixed to, protect the investment. And so the buyers were able to use that to help, with the negotiations with the seller. And then we also offer a comprehensive moisture intrusion investigation, which is the entire house essentially. So we're doing the exterior, attic, crawl space, bathroom and roof. And we do a complete survey on the inside with an infrared camera and moisture meters, looking at the probable areas of moisture intrusion around windows, any penetrations, bathroom fans, at the basement, and all the perimeter walls of the basement. We'll take out the moisture meter and go, every few feet, we'll take a representative moisture measurement to give us an idea of what's happening and characterize the moisture profile of the home. So we do offer those services. It can all be booked online. And if you add it in during a normal home inspection, it's like $150 add-on because of the extra time it takes us and the instruments we use and the training we've had to get. and so on. And the reports get longer as well. And then if you do it as a standalone, it's more because, we don't get the event. We have to look at some of the same stuff we would already look at during the home inspection. And so I raced through the presentation today just so we could have time for questions. So Megan, Kelly, or Stephen, anything that has come up during the presentation or that you've experienced personally that you'd like some more insight on?
I guess just one quick question. So for the add-ons, so like if our client is ordering the inspection, I mean, how would they know if they need to add on the additional moisture testing, or like, do you just suggest everyone do that? Or is it if we saw the home and we thought there may be an issue, then we would add it on?
I don't recommend everyone do it because for many homes, it's an unnecessary add-on. The clients that are best for this are like the house I inspected on Saturday. There was multiple signs of moisture intrusion in every floor of the house.
Okay.
That was a natural, like, let's find out what's truly going on, not just, and come up with a plan on how to solve it. So they got their money back on that inspection for sure. And I don't like inspecting just to make money. I'm here to solve people's problems and give them information they wouldn't have known otherwise. So I had a client call me on Sunday and say, should I order the moisture intrusion? And it was a 20-year-old house and she'd seen one small spot of moisture in the house. And I said, no, not worth it in that situation. Let's go look at it as a normal home inspection. And then if I see other indications of a more systemic problem, then yes. But until then, it's not worth the extra dollars for them.
Okay. So more so if we see something that we're concerned about when we are looking at the home.
It does take an extra hour, so we like to know before we go because we are pretty packed in right now. And if I don't always have that while I'm at the property, unless it's scheduled ahead of time. And if I have to come back, then I have to charge more because there's a trip charge on top of just doing the work. So we're trying to do that if possible.
Okay, thank you.
I apologize. I got to the Zoom call a little late, so I'm sure there's a lot of good information I missed. But I don't have any questions.
But we are emailing the presentation, so you'll get a copy. But that's a small microcosm of the world of moisture intrusion investigation. There's so many. It's one of my favorite parts because of my engineering training. It's like a puzzle you're trying to solve. Like, where's the water coming? Because it's not always where you think it is.
Well, over the I've been selling for about 27 years, and usually try to do a walk around the outside of a house before going inside. Of course, that's not easy to do in the wintertime when there's a lot of snow, but oftentimes if I see negative slope to a patio or a sidewalk or whatever, I always try to point that out to the potential buyer before I said, we may go inside and go to the basement and find right directly below what you're seeing here, a history of moisture intrusion. So you just learn over the years, kind of what some of the telltale signs are, or you walk around the house and obviously no gutters, and you can see where all the rain falling, 2 feet or 18 inches from the basement walls, where it's worn away or washed away soil. And I try to tell buyers that probably the biggest enemy of a house is water in Minnesota. So we want to watch for telltale signs.
Yeah, we do offer clients a pre-listing service too, which is, for me, it's like a gold mine for the sellers because it can identify issues they can solve before they list it. And
Exactly.
And they can even disclose, look, we found out about these things, we fixed these things. And that creates a lot of goodwill with buyers. And also minimizes stuff on the back end in negotiations. So
Yep, I highly agree with that. Great
So-
practice.
unfortunately, it's seldom done. You know, I'd say less than 5% of our business is pre-listing inspections.
Probably very true. Yep.
All right, is there any other questions? Because we have a drawing for those people that were willing to brave a moisture intrusion investigation presentation.
I just need Megan's last name.
It's Orin, Ourin.
Awesome. All right. Well, Tom, I'm so thankful that these three joined us. So I'm going to go ahead and give everyone a $5 Caribou card.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
I will mail it to, are you guys all checking in at the office these days if I mail them there?
Yeah, I'm the acting broker, so
Oh.
we're back on site
Okay,
several times a week, so at least.
fantastic.
Awesome.
Well, I will
Well-
drop those in the mail tomorrow.
And look for the
Okay.
next class. The next class is going to talk about chimneys and doors and windows and what's inside a house that can cause harm. So, and there's plenty of stuff.
Unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
And when are you doing that, or when's that taking place?
According to Stephanie, I think she's looking for a spot in June,
Okay,
second class.
awesome. Well, I'll try to get some more people here for.
That sounds great.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
Thanks
All
for
right, thank
joining.
you.
You.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.